Yeah, what up, Base Boxing Basement, Triple B, a like, and etc. Please. Now, so the big fight, there's several big fights on the card tomorrow, the Saudi card in Riyadh. You know, the two ones that are most likely to be exciting are Anthony Yarde from the UK and Benavidez, the Mexican Ecuadorian Mexican, Ecuadorian, American. But yeah, and then we've got Sam Noakes. He's Abdullah Mason. Now, I've already done a preview on Yarde. I don't give him that much chance, but he's game. We'll see what happens. But Noakes and Abdullah Mason are both unbeaten, and they are contesting the vacant WBO lightweight title, which was stripped from Keyshawn Davis, yeah, after cancelling his bout. And you know, these boxing organizations, they want to get paid, so they'll strip you easy, and unless you're a big star, and then, you know, push the other two fighters together because they get their money from a cut of the promotion. Now, both these guys are unbeaten. Abdullah Mason is unbeaten in, let's have a look here, 19 fights with 17 KOs. Noakes is unbeaten in 17 fights, 15 KOs. So they both get around a 90% KO ratio. And, you know, it's you know, if there's one exciting fight, and this one is closer than Benavidez, Yarde, at least in the bookies. But, you know, when I look at these two guys, I don't know, man. Intuitively, I lean towards Abdullah Mason. Let's look at their records and see if they've beaten anyone decent. If you look at Abdullah, he's beaten in his last few fights a lot of guys with decent enough records, you know, with good winning records. He was dropped twice by a guy called Johan Vasquez in round 1. Which is interesting. I mean, anyone can get caught cold, but he then battered Vasquez to the canvas in round 1 and 2 and 1. I'd say the bet fighters are most likely. There's no outstanding guys, but there's plenty of guys with decent records and solid guys on Abdullah Mason on his record. And he's been pushed by the US, you know, as a future superstar. And they usually don't do that unless you really are decent world level. Sam Noakes, a very solid guy, you know, bit slow on his feet, you know. People say he's very strong, and he sparred Shakur Stevenson, and Stevenson said he thinks Noakes has got a very good chance, which is interesting. But he might just be doing some stirring there, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But he said Noakes is very, very strong, and that's what he's known for. But being strong and winning a fight against a flighty southpaw who can also punch is a big ask. I mean, at least it's not in the US, right? It's in Saudi, so there'll be more of a time difference for Abdullah Mason. Yeah, I don't know when he flew in, but these big time differences, moving across the time zones, can you know, really weaken a man. But if I don't know how long he's been there. That might be Noakes' big chance. He might get a slightly flat Abdullah Mason, you know. But I'm going to assume Mason has done the weight well and he's got used to the time difference. As for Noakes, I mean, yeah, he is strong, but he's not that difficult to hit. He's also slow on the feet, and his hand speed is not especially good. He can punch, but at what level, you know? I don't really see any impressive victories. He's beaten a couple of unbeaten guys, in fact more than a couple, you know, and he's stopped them, but they're like British guys, you know, Lewis Sylvester, Calvin McCord, guys like that. There's nothing you know, exceptional about those kind of guys. It seems that the only guy that was vaguely, although he shot world title, was Ivan Mendy, and he laboured to a decision. Well, he won it easily enough, but it wasn't that exciting. He won every round, but Mendy was very negative in that fight. I don't know. Oh, he's also beaten an unbeaten Indian guy, Ajit. Yeah, he beat Kartik Satish Kumar, who was unbeaten at 12-0 and he got stopped in 2 rounds. But, you know, India's hardly known for its great athletes or its great boxers, is it? You know, so, I mean, I would say that Noakes' guys have mainly been British stroke European level. I don't think Abdullah's fought any serious, world-class guys, but he's fought solid fighters from Mexico, tough guys like that. And just when they hype an American fighter, yeah, in America, and they put a lot behind him, you usually take some notice. They usually have to be a bit special. Sometimes they'll get it wrong, you know, but so you can't get everything right. But generally, if they're really hyping a guy as a next prospect, although they're a bit desperate for good fighters, the United States, but you got to take notice. Whereas for me, Noakes is a level below world title level. Although he has been hyped a lot in the UK, I've never been like super impressed by him. He looks a bit slow and a bit plodding. And, you know, but he's a come forward guy. And Abdullah Mason is a vicious guy as well. If you look at Abdullah's record, he's never been past round 6, and he has a lot of stoppages, you know, before 6 rounds, which is interesting. So, you know, I think he's not going to find Noakes hard to hit. And whether or not Noakes is strong, when you're getting banged hard in the face by a southpaw, an awkward southpaw, who can punch, I don't know, man. I see him busting Noakes up. I see him stopping Noakes within 6 rounds. Now, that you know, that's a big bet. That's a big prediction. You know, Boxing News have Noakes, you know, been stopped in 8 or 9. I think it might even be in the first 6, just because Mason has a lot of early finishes, and Noakes is a very come forward guy. And I can see his face getting bashed up and him getting dropped early. So, this is not like my big, you know, usually when I make predictions with betting, I'm pretty solid on it. So it's not that, to me, it's a little bet maybe. But 4-1, Abdullah Mason in the first 6 rounds is probably the value here. I'll put a little fiver on it. Again, like I just see Noakes as being too easy to hit, too plodding, too slow. And Abdullah Mason being despite the fact, he got dropped once, but he came out to drop the other guy against, and you can get caught in the first round. I don't think Noakes is, when I've watched him, you know, even though he's got a great KO record, he doesn't look like a big bomber. He's just a strong kind of guy with clubbing punches. I see him getting bit by Abdullah Mason, and, you know, I think it'll be a difference between British stroke Euro level and world level, and I believe Mason will stop him within 6 rounds.